Not far behind the first responders was the governor of Pennsylvania, Tom Ridge. His Chinook helicopter from Harrisburg was one of the few aircraft allowed to fly that day. It was a day that truly changed the life of the man who became the nation's first Secretary for Homeland Security. 15 years later, I talked to Ridge in the global security company that he founded in Washington, D.C. He remembers flying over the crash site. A combat-tested Vietnam veteran, Tom Ridge was unprepared for this.
Expecting to see the site of a commercial airplane disaster. Unfortunately, there aren't too many of those, but you see bits and pieces of the plane. Basically nothing but a small smoldering hole.
I guess the range of emotion goes from rage and anger to sorrow to horror.
I think it's the same way most Americans felt. It was a mixture of horror, unspeakable tragedy, sacrifice. We didn't know how courageous everybody was at the time. Anger.
Then, while confronted by hordes of reporters and cameras, Ridge saw something else.
Over on the side were all those Pennsylvanians, all those volunteer firemen, all those emergency service personnel. Everybody knew that something bad had happened, and everybody ran to the scene to see if they could help. And they stayed afterwards to wonder, like the rest of us, to pray like the rest of us.
And he proudly points out that the people of Western Pennsylvania didn't stop there.
Everybody in that region decided this hallowed ground is ours. It's in our backyard. And we're going to do everything we can to perpetuate the memory of what happened, to protect that very special space.
It was that space that shaped Ridge's destiny. From the moment he landed, Pennsylvania's governor became the on-site authority overseeing the investigation. Then, days later, he served as inspiration to a crowd at the Somerset County Courthouse. It is described in Tom McMillan's book, Flight 93. You said, "They will not drive us apart. We have come together and we won't let them take away our way of life." That applies today.
Exactly. Well, I think that's one of the challenges that we have today and will have forevermore.
Shortly after that, Ridge was on his way to Washington, D.C. In the wake of the attacks, his friend, President George W. Bush, asked him to be the White House Homeland Security Advisor. Do you know why he turned to you?
I don't know, and I don't need to know, because I dare say, I think, had the president asked any Pennsylvanian or any American to do a specific job in the week or 2 or 3 after that event, everybody would have volunteered.
And the job became historic. In January 2003, after the largest government reorganization since 1947, Ridge became the secretary of the newly formed Department of Homeland Security.
Mr. Vice President, let me again welcome you again to the headquarters of the Department of Homeland Security.
Ridge is grateful that President Bush gave him the opportunity to serve his country in that way.
Got a picture.
And he was gratified when the families of the Flight 93 passengers and crew approached him to lead the effort to build the memorial in Shanksville.
And to be joined in that collective effort over the years, ultimately with the Park Service, to do everything they could, not only to preserve the memory of their sons and daughters and husbands and wives and people, but also to preserve the story of what really transpired over the skies of Pennsylvania.
Ridge is now a part of that memorial. There is a video in the visitor center of the moving tribute he gave at the 10th anniversary of 9/11. It was the day after the dedication of the Memorial Plaza and the Wall of Names, names of heroes. You addressed the passengers and crew personally, as if they were there. Why? Why did you choose that way to speak?
Because they were.
And they continue to inspire.
The initial objective of terrorists is to strike fear in your heart, start making compromises, start adjusting your way of life because we're afraid. Well, here's a group of people that said, oh, we know our fate, and we're not afraid.
For Ridge, every visit to the memorial renews a personal connection.
Since I was there within hours, after they gave their lives, and so you're always connected to that moment and connected to the Pennsylvanians that rallied to try to help.
Pennsylvanians who rallied with contributions of both time and money, as Ridge and others stressed the importance of this memorial in a field in Shanksville.
I think if people take the time to go to that center and take a walk down that wall and think of what these people did, these men and women, husbands and wives, sons and daughters did, pretty powerful message. That's why my remarks way back when, they live here, you can feel it.
Next on Chronicle.
You know, those individuals were part of the first response. I think it kind of unified our country.
Pittsburgh's heroes honoring America's heroes.
They were true champions in that moment.
Steelers greats remembering the heroes of Flight 93. Next on Chronicle.